thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Brett Kanda. I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for BRINC Drones, and this is actually our first webinar as a company, so we are very excited that all of you are joining us. And today we are going to do a deep dive into the technology, as well as go over an overview of the company and how we got started and why we are building the technology that we're building. So we'll jump into the agenda here. Again, we'll go over a little bit of company background so everybody has a good idea of who we are and what we do. We will talk about the reason we've built this technology as a location isolation and communication tool. And then we are going to discuss all of the details of the tech. And then we'll leave about 15 or 20 minutes at the end of this for a live Q&A. So a little bit of housekeeping. Everybody is currently muted. So for any questions that you do have, please put it into the Q&A box, and I will go line by line at the end, and we'll do a live Q&A once we wrap up here. So let's get right into it. So BRINC Drones was started about 3 years ago. Our founder and CEO's name is Blake Resnick, and I think it's only appropriate that we start this webinar with a little bit of background on Blake. So Blake is born and raised here in Las Vegas. He graduated high school at the age of 13. He went to Northwestern School of Engineering at the age of 14, was the youngest ever. He left after a semester, and then he went and interned at McLaren Auto in Tesla, where he worked on a number of different technologies. Then he went to Tesla for an internship, and then he went to DJI and worked out of the Palo Alto office. And in parallel, about 3 years ago, he started BRINC Drones from his garage. And so actually the product that you see behind my head here is the first product that Blake built. And the original business model was he wanted to build a 24/7 mesh network drone in a box for border surveillance. This was about at the time when the physical border wall was going up along the southern border of the US. And he thought he had a better idea of creating every 50 miles, having a base station with a drone that has all of the capabilities that we've come to know and love in drones. At the end of the day, Blake got all the way up to Department of Homeland Security, helped develop multiple features of the technology with DHS, and the BVLOS and some of the FAA regulations ended up being a hurdle that were too much to overcome. So at about the same time, the October 1st Mandalay Bay shootings happened at the Route 91 Harvest Festival. And that day not only changed all of our lives, but gave Blake the inspiration to make a pivot in the company and build a new tool. So after that day, Blake cold called the Las Vegas SWAT team, which is one of the busiest SWAT teams in the country, and said, hey, I think I can build a better product for you that would have helped us on the 1st of October. And so before Blake started to build anything, he spent about 6 months with the Las Vegas SWAT team, going on approximately 20 to 25 callouts in real world scenarios to see what they needed and listened. And so the product that I'm going to be showing you today, the Lemur, is really a product that was built for and by SWAT team operators. So a lot of the features that you'll see came directly from feedback from SWAT operators that are in the field. So Blake pivoted, as I mentioned, and spent 6 months. And then about 3.5 months later, he came back to the Las Vegas SWAT team with the Lemur, a prototype early version, but almost a complete solution for them. And so Las Vegas became the first customer, went from beta customer to first customer. And now we're lucky enough to have multiple active and retired Las Vegas SWAT operators on staff here at BRINC. Because they feel like this is a product that is going to help save their guys and girls' lives, as well as keep suspects safe. And so the BRINC Difference is our obsession with the customer and listening and making sure that we're taking feedback from customers and building it directly into our products. So that's a little bit of background on Blake. This company is a very young company. We've raised about $28 million of financing over a 4-month period. I joined the company about 3.5 months ago. And just so everybody is aware of the context of the company as well as the background, we are a new startup, but moving very quickly and excited to get the Lemur into the hands of as many SWAT operators as we possibly can. So We are also an American company. Our headquarters is here in Las Vegas. We build, manufacture, assemble everything here in our facility in Las Vegas. Almost everything we do with our product is built in-house. And you can see that by the giant American flag that we have in our warehouse. So we are excited to become one of the emerging American drone companies that I think will help make our industry a more healthy ecosystem. So made in the USA, and we're very proud of that. So as I mentioned, the tool that we've built, and we view this as a tool, this is something that needs to be easy to use. It needs to be reliable. It needs to be hardened. And at the end of the day, this is a de-escalation tool and something that is going to give the first in, so the first part of the SWAT stack, more time to make decisions and also have eyes and ears. So this is, some of our features give us the ability to negotiate with suspects, but this is really why we've built this technology as a de-escalation tool, and a tool that is ultimately going to allow the operator to clear rooms and replace that front of the stack person from having to go and do that and putting himself in harm's way. So you can now fly the drone into a structure and clear both upstairs and downstairs without having to put a SWAT operator's life at risk. Now let's get into the details of the technology. I have a full kit right here next to me. So where I'd like to start is the battery technology. So here's some of the spec snapshots here, but I do want to spend, there's going to be a few slides here later on in the deck, but I do want to spend a few minutes here going over our battery technology. So what's unique about this battery is that we're not using lithium polymer. We're using a lithium ion chemistry. And as I mentioned early on, our founder and CEO, Blake, spent some time over at Tesla. So really what you have in here is a small Tesla battery. So what does that allow you to do? It's a 45-minute 0 to 90% charge time. This is going to give you a true 30 minutes of flight time. You do not need to store our batteries at any certain capacity. This will allow you as well to do 10 hours of perch time. So this battery will also give you 500 charge cycles. So typical lithium polymer batteries are going to give you anywhere from 50 to 100 charge cycles, depending on how they're stored and how they're maintained. Our technology, the longevity of our batteries is significantly longer than anything else you're going to be able to find on the market. So very easily to screw in. I'll show you that here in just a minute, but this is kind of the form factor, shape, and size of our lithium ion battery here. So some of the spec snapshots here: 31-minute flight time, like I mentioned, 10-hour perch time, which is really, really important for barricade or hostage situations to be able to land our system, kill the motors, and be able to sit there for up to 10 hours. Two-way communication, which we'll go over here in a minute. Battery quality, payload support, turtle mode, fully encrypted AES 128 encryption on both command and control as well as video, and extended video signal. So some of the main spec snapshots there. So 10-hour perch time. So often in SWAT operators, in the use case for SWAT operators, they are going to have a situation where a suspect puts themselves in a closet, in a bathroom, somewhere where they're unable to locate, isolate, and communicate with them. So with the Lemur, you are able to clear every room. And if you do find a suspect that is unwilling to come out of a bathroom or a closet, whatever it may be, you would be able to land the Lemur, kill the motors, and have not only two-way communication, but also video. And you'd be able to sit there for up to 10 hours. So long standoffs, this is a great tool to use to be able to maintain eyes and ears inside of the facility. 31-minute flight time based on our chemistry and our battery. The glass breaker. So we can go over each individual attachment, and it probably makes the most sense to show you the bottom of the Lemur and the way the payload operates. So on the bottom of our system, right here, you can see these 3 thumb screws and a direct connector port. This is where all of our payloads are attached, and it's very simple to use, easy thumb screws, easy to get in there and attach them. And probably the most popular accessory that we have is right here. This is the glass breaker. So you would attach this like so, and the glass breaker would sit out in front of the system. This is a tungsten carbide. I like to call it a ninja star, is probably the easiest way to describe this. This is able to spin up to 30,000 RPM. It works best on tempered glass. However, it can work on paned residential glass. Tinted glass is definitely harder, but this is a very unique feature that allows teams to breach windows should that be necessary in an actual call out. So this is a unique technology that you don't ever really need to spin it to 30,000 RPM. However, it does have that capability. And again, from the video, you can kind of see the way it would work. The way that you should be breaking glass as an operator is, number one, trying to target something that's tempered. But the actual flight profile and the way you need to fly it to do it is you want to tap the very top of the glass and then pull back. The reason we're showing this is to show the durability of the system. So if you did need to use it as a battering ram through glass, you could, and you could also flip over using our turtle mode right afterwards. So definitely one of our favorite accessories. The next attachment is a floodlight attachment. So using the exact same 3 thumb screw configuration and direct plug-in, this is our flashlight / floodlight. So you would be able to use this to brighten up video as well as potentially use on a suspect. So our general purpose dropper, you are able to, again, using the same 3 thumb screws, attach this to the bottom of our system. This is a servo controlled dropper right here so that you can see, just like this. And this is just controlled via the controller. You're able to drop off a payload up to 1 pound, and very useful for negotiation, getting something downrange. Definitely an important tool for a system like ours to have. Next, a lot of times the con ops for SWAT operators is to actually use a terrestrial robot or an I-Core or something like that. And should they be operating a large terrestrial robot, we've created this piece right here. So this is our terrestrial robot connector, and using the payload dropper, so you would have the payload dropper to the Lemur, you would attach this little device directly to the robot. You would be able to connect the Lemur directly to the robot and take off once you get indoors. Because right now our system, and you will see these 2 metal rods here right on the front. Actually, there's 4, but these 2 are used for turtle mode. These 2 in the front are used for opening doors. So the Lemur right now does not have the capability of actually twisting a knob and opening a door. However, if the door is open or ajar, you would be able to use our system as a version of a battering ram and use that to go into the door and open it. So that is what you would use these 2 for. And then this is our turtle mode. So we have a function, should you land on your back during a mission, you would be able to reverse thrust the motors and flip back over so the mission's not over. And as I mentioned, that is what these 2 rods right here are being used for. And just an easy switch on the controller to be able to activate this. The only caveat for doing a turtle mode is that if you have the glass breaker on the device, you will not be able to do turtle mode. Also, you have to have above a 20% battery capacity to do turtle mode as well. Battery charge time, 90%, up 0 to 90% in 45 minutes, so a rapid charge. And this is the way we connect our batteries. So on the back of the system, we use this screw device like this. So this is how we connect our battery. So it is going to stay in the system and it will be able to tolerate shock. And when you put the battery into the drone is automatically recording to a micro SD card that is on board, and it automatically activates the drone. So our goal for SWAT operators is to go from pulling the case out of their vehicle to being in the air in 45 seconds. So we wanted to take a lot of the guessing out of the equation. And so battery goes in, drone on, automatically recording. VR headset. So let's start first with the camera module that we use. So this is a fixed FPV light camera. The RGB camera on board is at 1080p. 60 frame per second wide fixed angle lens. It's a 170-degree field of view. So as the operator, you're going to see the tip of both of these rods in your main field of view. And again, that is fixed. We also have IR illuminators on board, as well as built-in night vision. The night vision is controlled just via a toggle on the controller. Very, very easy to use. And we do get quite a few questions about thermal. We do have the ability to integrate the FLIR Hadron on board. However, with all of our testing and everything that we've been learning from customers in the field, thermal tends to be a difficult data stream to interpret what's happening because more times than not, SWAT operators are going into a hoarder-like environment. It's usually very dark, it's usually very cluttered, and it's usually small. So all of those factors make thermal a bit more difficult to determine what's going on. So we've opted to have night vision be the main optic in our standard package. However, if it is a hard requirement to have an EO/IR payload, we're able to do that as well. But the feedback has been pretty conclusive that night vision is the way to go here for near completely blacked out conditions. So the VR headset, which is right here, is a developer called Orca that we work with. So right now, you do need to fly via FPV goggles. There is a double redundancy micro SD for recording on here. This also allows you to transmit video streams to multiple receivers. But these are our top of class VR headset and FPV headset that we've really come to know and love, and we think this is a great product to use with the Lemur. So right now, that is how you are going to be viewing everything, is through a VR headset. We are working on an in-house controller with a built-in monitor, which will be ready soon enough. But as of today, you would control the drone via hand controller and FPV goggles. As I mentioned, we are in development of our own controller. So this is a bit of a sneak peek here of what it will look like, a version of it. But we are working on it, and we're pretty excited about it. So two-way communication. We are the only drone in the world that has this capability. So essentially, the Lemur is a flying cell phone. The drone comes with an LTE board inside of it. The two silver dollars that you see here are high-powered microphones. And then on the underneath part of the system, so here's the microphones right here. This is the loudspeaker. So very, very sensitive microphones and a very loud loudspeaker. So this allows crisis negotiators to go in, have two-way communication, and again, allow the operator and allow the team to locate, isolate, and communicate with suspects. So the way it's operated is just via cell phone number. So when you buy our system, we would ask you what typical telecom you're using, what provider you're using, and we would install that SIM card directly into the drone. And the way it's controlled is just via cell phone. So each Lemur comes with its own unique cell phone number. You would call in, and the way that you control the volume is just a dial and a knob on the controller. So you call in, the Lemur will ring twice, it will pick up. You now have two-way audio communication with suspects, with whoever is involved in the operation. So a very, very unique capability, and one that we've found is absolutely mission critical for operators to have. So as I mentioned, we are able to open doors and use the Lemur as a battering ram. Grant assistance program. So when we do work directly with end users in the SWAT department, we are able to offer a grant assistance program through Police One. So we have partnered with Lexipol, Police Grants Help, and Police One because we understand that this is a new technology. We also understand that smaller departments tend to have difficulty finding funding for their programs. So working with us, we would be able to utilize the huge database that Police Grants Help has access to go out and find you federal, state, local, private foundation funding for your program. And we take care of that service, and it's a service that we offer free to the end user. So something that's very unique. And again, we believe we've built a life-saving tool here, and we want that to be in as many people's toolbox as we possibly can. So before we get into Q&A, I want to show just a few more things here. This is our video repeater receiver box. So our drone, one of the most important parts of our system is the video signal penetration. We are typically operate from about a block away. However, using this box is going to allow you to do two things. And this is a really cool design. This is magnetized on the bottom, easy to hold. You would put this on either a tripod or a Bearcat or anything metal that's intermediary from the pilot to the drone. So this is going to do two things. This is going to 3x your command and control signal. So you'd be able to operate about a block away. And this is also going to allow you to distribute video feed. So we are currently using a video streaming backend, but if your command or if somebody involved in the operation wants to watch in what's happening, you're able to log into a browser that we provide and watch the mission. And as long as you have internet connectivity and a browser, you're going to be able to watch the mission in real time. Each kit that we have comes with a spare part and spare toolkit. So it's a highly modular drone. Because this is an indoor tactical system, we expect operators to crash. We expect operators to break ducts. We expect them to break props. We expect them to break motors. So during our training course, we teach you how to do basic in-field maintenance and repair so that you don't have to send the drone back to us and have any downtime. Should you crash the drone beyond repair, so the only time you need to send it back to us is if something happens to the camera payload, something happens to the fuselage, that would require repair on our end, but otherwise you're going to be able to repair this system in the field directly by yourself. So highly modular. A few other important characteristics is we do not have any user accessible firmware, software, and we do not use GPS for navigation. We are using a downward facing LiDAR, and that's what this module is right here. So this is a downward facing LiDAR that allows us to do altitude hold, and it's also pilot assistance. So you will never have a geofencing problem. You will never be grounded because you are in a restricted airspace, and you're never going to have required firmware or software updates using our system. So again, very easy to use and not something where you're ever going to be grounded in a mission critical situation. So this LiDAR assistance is always improving. It is something that we're working on every single day to improve flight stability, to make this feel like you are flying a GPS-based drone, but you actually are not. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into some questions here. I'm going to jump into this Q&A box here and see what we got. Okay. First question here. The base price point for this equipment. Very good question. I knew that would come up at some point. So a base kit, which is the airframe, the controller, the FPV goggles, 2 batteries, spare part kit, spare toolkit, and a multi-purpose charger is $8,999. So basically $9,000. This accessory kit that you see here is $1,999, so $2,000. And then the video repeater receiver box is $2,999. And we also do require a training. So we require a 3-day training. We are in the process right now of building out a world-class 7,000 square foot indoor tactical drone flying facility here in Las Vegas. So we do require customers to come to us. There will be off cases where there's too many people or it's just logistically can't happen. We will come to you for training, but because of our resources, facility, equipment, everything that we need to provide a good, reliable, robust training for 3 days, we basically require customers to come to us for the training. And that is $2,500 flat fee. We suggest that departments send their top 2 or 3 pilots that have the most flight hours to our training because it is a train the trainer curriculum. So you would be able to come, attend the training, and ultimately go back and train your more novice pilots at home. Yes, I can absolutely send a copy of this recording. We will send you not only a copy of the recording, but also a little questionnaire afterwards to see how we're doing. What, if any, applications do you see for the fire service? Now, because our system is built for indoor tactical operations, that's what we've built it for, to fly indoor in tight quarters. There are going to be times that you fly our system outdoors to do a perimeter clearing of a building. However, because of the optics and because of the camera system that we have on board, we don't use this for any type of overwatch or any type of use case like that. So it could be used in certain fire scenarios, but it's not necessarily built for that use case. Are there any commercial or DOS export restrictions? No, there are not. Does it have a glass breaking capability? Yes, it does, as we went over. Are flight logs recorded and compatible with records reporting systems like AirData? And so not currently. We are absolutely working on a logging backend, but that is something that we'll be providing in the future. Right now, this would be on your department to log all of your flights. What quality is the video being transmitted to the FPV goggles? Right now, it's a 720p feed back into the goggles. Okay. I'm assuming the drone must be landed and in perch mode with motors disengaged for the mics to work. The mics always work. So you would be able to have two-way even while you're flying. And we've done some pretty unique modifications to the microphone to dampen out the motor wash so that you can still hear. But obviously it works better if the motors are killed and you're in perch mode. But you would still be able to use two-way even if you're flying. So great question. Will the comms work in rural areas where cell signals are limited or inside dense commercial structures? So this is the beauty of our system. We're not using any LTE to fly the drone. Our command and control, so unaided, operating range is about 8 miles. In dense commercial structures, absolutely. So we use a combination of analog video signal and proprietary algorithms for our signal penetration. And we're able to operate from very long distances without losing any command and control or video signal. Very, very important for SWAT operators, because if using a DJI Spark or a Mini or some other solution like that, you generally have to be either in the structure or right outside of the structure to be able to operate it without you losing your video signal. That's the beauty of our system. You can have your pilot in command in the Bearcat in a protected area, so they are not still in harm's way. So distance of operation is a very, very important part of our system. Is it waterproof? So our system is an IP24 rated drone. So it will work in, soft, light rain. If you have a torrential downpour, there could be issues, but IP24 rating is the answer to that. Remote ID. No, not yet. Once the law goes into place, we'll make the necessary changes. How will the drone perform in a smoky room since you guys are using downward facing LiDAR? So smoke is difficult for anything. We are able to fly, no problem. The smoke will not affect the LiDAR. However, it will affect the optics. So smoke tends to not be a great environment for night vision as well as RGB. So that would be kind of the one use case where having thermal would be really, really beneficial. Are the motors brushless? Yes, sir, they are. Max height for the LiDAR to be effective, we suggest that you're operating, our testing has gone up to 50 feet, but we suggest you be right around 10 feet for optimal LiDAR pilot navigation when you're operating. When do we expect to have the GCS ready? We're in development. We have a good prototype ready to go. We're targeting a couple months. So good question. How many have been destroyed or otherwise compromised by suspects? That is a great question. I do not know the answer to that, but that will happen. And we do have a loaner program. So if you have a suspect destroy the drone, we would overnight you an airframe, teach you how to bind it, and then send your drone back to us for a quote out and repair services. Good question here. Can you please talk about the integration with evidence.com for storing the video for detectives and court purposes? So we're actually working on having an automatic upload into evidence.com for detectives and court purposes. We're working on that. Right now, everything is recorded on board, a micro SD card, as well as in your goggles. But we are absolutely working on integration with evidence.com. Maximum range, so command and control is 8 miles. Max altitude, we don't test max altitude. That is not part of the use case of our system. We will never need to fly high. Max velocity, we've hit 60 miles an hour. Do you or are you planning on having partners or options for Canadian customers? The answer is yes, absolutely. We will be doing that very soon. Do you have any audio samples of the two-way 4G connection? Can it hear during flight or only while perched? Is there any noise canceling and reduced prop wash noise? Answer is yes, absolutely. We do have audio samples. The video that I played did have an audio sample. You can find that multiple places. But yes, it does have noise canceling, and you can do two-way while flying, but usually two-way is done while perched. So we are going to be working with distributors around the world. And when it comes to training, we like to give the customer the option. So they can either come to our academy here in Las Vegas and do the training, but we were also ensuring that our distribution channel does have the ability to train you as well. How much extra is the glass brake attachment? So it is not sold separately. It is part of this case right here that you see, which are the 4 attachments that I mentioned. And the price is $1,999 for the attachments. What is the success rates of obtaining grants in California? That's fairly difficult to answer. We're about a 4 or 5 month old company. We're very new, and so grants take a long time. So it'd be hard for me to answer the exact success rate of obtaining grants in California. Can your training course accept 5 pilots? Would there be an additional cost for 5? No, the $2,500 is a flat fee for your department. I would say that 5 is probably the maximum that we would have you send out. And we like a 1-to-3 trainer to pilot ratio during our training. Are there plans for a handheld team leader screen system? There is, and you could also just use our video distribution feed to look on whatever monitor you're going to be in front of. Any desire to integrate into ATAC? That is something that we're actively discussing. However, right now we do not integrate with ATAC. Do you have to register with the FAA? Yes, you absolutely do. Because if you are flying outdoors, again, you would need to have the drone registered and adhere to all FAA Part 107 regulations. Now, the drone responders tactical BVLOS waiver actually fits our use case to a T. So if you have your operator that is a block away and you are flying the drone around the facility, along the backside of the system or of the home, that COA will allow you to do that type of mission and technically be beyond visual line of sight. But yeah, so any outdoor operations, it fall under Part 107. Mission control planning waypoints. No, not right now. The drone is flown FPV. Okay, so are there any firmware or software updates included? No, you do not need to update firmware and you do not need to update software at any point. Let's see here. How do you handle new technology upgrades as a company? That could probably have a very detailed answer. Number one is we listen to the customer, take their feedback, and then develop a timeline for integration and development. We do have a process in-house on what technology upgrades that we're going to do. However, right now, the Lemur's pretty much built out. There's going to be very, very little that we're going to do to the Lemur. As I mentioned earlier, the only thing that we're really working on right now is another hand controller. But the actual airframe itself, very little needs to be done. We will always be improving the LiDAR pilot assistance, but it's pretty much there. Operating temperatures, -20 Fahrenheit to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Is it currently in production or ready to be sold? Yes, absolutely. It can be bought through a combination of us directly as well as certain distributors around the US. Blue UAS approved. No, this is not a Blue UAS approved aircraft. How many devices can be controlled at one time by a single operator? It is a 1-to-1 ratio. So you will not be able to operate multiple drones from a single controller. Good question. Payload capacity, up to 1 pound. How many airframes do the typical SWAT team purchase for the mission to be successful? And the answer is 2. So if you did need to use the glass breaker on Lemur 1, breach a window, that drone may go down. And there are times when the glass from the window comes down and breaks the prop. That's going to be an environment where you want to send in Lemur 2 to continue the mission. So generally 2 kits is what SWAT teams prefer. The warranty on our system, we have a full 1-year manufacturer's warranty, and then we have a 3-year limited manufacturer's warranty. So if anything happens on our side, we'll cover it completely for a whole year. And then over a 3-year period, we will cover certain aspects of the drone. And then we also have the loaner program that I mentioned. Top speed of the drone, 60 miles per hour. Let's see here. Any issues with signal interference between this system and other remote devices? No, we have not had any issue with signal interference. Our customers now are using the system on almost every call out, and we've yet to hear anybody have problems with signal interference using other robots. Can you clarify? You mentioned turtle mode is not an option with the glass break connected. That's correct. So if you have the glass breaker on the Lemur and you land on your back, you will not be able to do turtle mode with the glass breaker still attached. Camera vertical view is 170 degrees. That's just whole field of view. So that's horizontal field of view, vertical field of view. I'll need to get that information for you. Does the controller have USB HDMI ports? The new controller will, yes. Do we have plans for future drones? Yes, we do. We are, with our recent fundraising round, we are going to be investing in R&D projects for other systems. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of the webinar, the system that you see behind me is something that does exist. However, regulations are not quite ready for that. So yes, we do have a very robust product roadmap moving forward. Any plans to create a helmet NVG mount for goggles for quick and easy on and off? Yes, that is a great idea. We are thinking about that and actively working on it because we understand that most operators are wearing the helmet. So yes. If we bought 2, one for a backup, would it integrate with the controls easily? Yes, absolutely. It will come already integrated and bound as well. Can you 3D print replacement ducts and frame? We do. We 3D print our ducts as well as our airframe. So you wouldn't be able to do it, but we would be able to do it for you and send it to you. Lead time right now is 10 to 12 weeks, but we are actively working to improve that by onboarding more people, as well as buying more equipment and increasing our capacity in production manufacturing. Do we offer test units prior to purchasing? No, we do not. Any plans to make it autonomous or semi-autonomous just for it to recover in unfortunate events? Yes, but using non-traditional autonomy methods. We have an amazing autonomy team from the self-driving car company Aptiv, and that team is developing pretty robust and incredible autonomy features. So yes, the system will become more autonomous, but it will not restrict your ability to fly indoors. Is the audio and video recorded on the onboard micro SD card? Yes, it is. Automatically. The minute you put the battery in, as long as there's an SD card in, it will start recording. How many do you have in the field? We have quite a few, and there's quite a few references. If you wanted to send me a message after this, I'd be happy to send you over some references. Can I fly without cell service? Yes, absolutely. We are not using LTE for command and control. How much does it cost with all the options? So if you do one of each, it comes out to approximately $16,000. So that's one kit, that's one repeater receiver box, one accessory kit, as well as the training. Comes out to right around 16K. Are you working to get into the DIU's Blue UAS program so you can get onto the GSA schedule? We are not working through DIU to do that, but we are working to get on the GSA schedule. Price, I just went over that. Fantastic. That is great. There's quite a few questions, and then I see a few more here. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Some of these we've already answered. So we do demo frequently. We have demos all around the country throughout the month of March as well as April. And we will be sending out periodic demo dates so that regional departments can attend. But we are always happy to demo. So if you would like a demo, please reach out to me and we can get one scheduled. The only thing that we ask for us to come to a demo is that there's a minimum of 5 or 6 departments represented for us to come. But yes, we would love to come demo. What is the fuselage made out of? Our system is a nylon reinforced carbon fiber. Do you need Part 107 to fly it? Yes, we suggest all pilots are Part 107 certified. Perfect. That's a great question. Does your LiDAR do any type of indoor mapping? Currently, our system is not used for mapping. It is used for navigation. Moving forward, though, that is something that we've discussed and a potentially really good option. So, you know, I appreciate. I'm going to go back here and see if there's any other questions here. If not, if anybody has any other questions that they'd like to verbalize, please send a quick note in the Q&A. I can unmute you and we can have a conversation. We got about 10 minutes left here, so happy to kind of open up the floor and have a conversation with anybody else who has questions that I haven't touched on quite yet. Fantastic. Well, if nobody has any other questions, thank you so much for your time. Here is my contact information. You can always email me, brett@brinkdrones.com. Here's my cell phone number, 818-515-5659. That is a little bit dangerous to do, but it's okay. Happy to always chat. Our website is www.brinkdrones.com. After this webinar, you will be receiving a recording as well as a questionnaire to see how we did. And again, we will be sending out demo dates. So if you would like to attend a demo, please reach out to me and we'd be happy to get that set up. We're based in Las Vegas. If anybody finds themselves in Las Vegas and would like to come check out our headquarters, more than happy to make that happen as well. So if there's nothing else, I appreciate everybody taking the time. We are excited to work with SWAT teams around the country. And we are really looking forward to the future and building a tool that is going to help save lives in the field. So thank you everybody again for coming. I appreciate you taking the time and feel free to reach out and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.